Moscow, the Empire of Ice and Fire. The majestic symphony of the North. This is a vast stage where history took its sharpest turns, where revolutions were ignited, and where empires both rose and fell. Moscow. Not just a capital, a manifesto of power with its wide avenues, towers piercing the sky, and palaces hidden beneath the earth. Here, the air is cold, yes. That famous Russian frost hits your face like a slap. But this cold exists to mask the passionate fire in the city's heart, a deep devotion to art, literature, and life itself. We are not starting a standard tour, we are beginning a novel. We will get lost between the lines of Dostoevsky, in the echoes of Soviet anthems, and in the glitter of modern Russia. If you are ready, let us take our first step onto the stones of Red Square. The heart of Red power and resistance, Kremlin and Red Square. There are some squares in the world that are merely empty spaces. But Red Square, Krasnaya Ploshchad, is history itself. The word red here comes not from communism, but from an old Russian word meaning beautiful. The walls of this square and the Kremlin right next to it are not just stone, they are living witnesses. This is the painful growth story of a giant that transformed from a small wooden fort established by Prince Yuri Dolgoruki in the deep forest in the 12th century into Europe's most populous metropolis with over 13 million people today. When you look up, St. Basil's Cathedral rises before you with its colorful onion domes, looking as if it jumped out of a fairy tale book. This architectural miracle, built by the order of Ivan the Terrible, has watched the rise of the empire for centuries. However, Moscow's fate is sealed by wars. World War I brought the end of a massive Tsarist empire, paved the way for the Bolshevik Revolution, and caused the capital to be moved from St. Petersburg back here, to the heart of the motherland. But the real saga was written during World War II, which Russians call the Great Patriotic War. While the sounds of Nazi tank tracks were heard from the city's outskirts, the Kremlin's towers were covered in camouflage. Moscow stopped the enemy right at its doorstep, in front of these walls, with both the freezing cold of the famous General Winter and the steely will of its people. This city, which did not fall that day, wears the title, Hero City, on its chest like an invisible medal today. Lenin's mausoleum, standing at the edge of the square, is the silent sentinel of that revolutionary era. While the embalmed leader defies time inside a glass sarcophagus, the luxurious lights of the GUM department store right across symbolize the city's transition from communism to capitalism and its modern, wealthy face today. People's palaces underground, the metro. In other cities, the metro is just a means of transport, you go from point A to point B. In Moscow, the metro is an underground museum. Ordered by Stalin as palaces for the people, these stations were designed to make workers and peasants feel as if they were in a palace. When you buy a ticket and descend deep into the earth on escalators, you are greeted by marble columns, bronze statues, mosaics, and giant crystal chandeliers. Look at the Baroque ceiling decorations of Komsomolskaya, you can't tell if you are in a ballroom or waiting for a train. Or walk among the futuristic Art Deco columns of Mayakovskaya. At Ploshchad WWII, Revolution Square, station, don't be surprised if you see people rubbing the nose of a bronze dog statue, this is a ritual Muscovites believe brings good luck. Every station is a story of Soviet ideology and art carved in marble. Ambition rising to the sky, the Seven Sisters and modernity. When you look at Moscow's skyline, you see 7 massive buildings dominating the city. These are the Gothic skyscrapers built by Stalin's order, known as the Seven Sisters. These buildings are both intimidating and mesmerizing. Especially the main building of Moscow State University or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. These structures, piercing the sky like spears, are the concrete embodiment of Soviet power and ambition. Looking at them, you feel the weight of that era on your shoulders. But Moscow is not a city stuck in the past. When you turn your head, you see the futuristic glass and steel towers of Moscow City, home to some of the tallest buildings in Europe. This contrast is Moscow's true identity, imperial heritage on one side, the pinnacle of capitalism on the other. Food of the Russian soul, borscht, caviar, and nostalgia. Russian cuisine is a rebellion against the harsh climate. It is a sanctuary that warms you, fills you, and feeds your soul. Our first stop is the legendary borscht soup with its ruby red color. Beets, cabbage, meat, and a spoonful of sour cream, smetana, on top. Drinking a hot bowl of borscht while it snows outside is the tastiest way to understand Russia. Then, the gift of Siberia, pelmeni. These dumplings, with meat filling hidden inside thin dough, are served with butter or vinegar. Simple, yet addictive. And of course, the peak of luxury, caviar and blini. Butter and black caviar spread over thin Russian crepes. This is a feast remaining from the tables of the Tsars. But for a real experience, go to Stolovaya, canteen, style restaurants living the Soviet nostalgia, or climb to the heights of luxury at White Rabbit, one of the world's best restaurants, to taste modern Russian cuisine under a glass dome watching the Moscow view. Guidance on icy roads, golden tips. Your journey to this massive metropolis begins at one of the giant airports like Sheremetyevo, SVO, or Domodedovo, DME. The most civilized way to get to the city is the Aeroexpress trains. Traffic in this city is legendarily bad, so choosing the metro over a taxi is not just a tourist decision, but a strategic one. Timing is everything. If you come in winter, January-February, you might see -20 degrees Celsius, but the magic of Red Square under snow is priceless. In summer, June-July, close to the White Nights, you find a completely different city where the sky almost never gets dark, and parks and riverbanks are bustling with life. And my golden tip, follow the trail of art. Walk on Old Arbat Street, Stary Arbat, see Pushkin's house, or look at the melancholic paintings of Russian artists at the Tretiakov Gallery. And if you can find tickets, definitely watch a ballet or opera at the Bolshoi Theater. Sinking into velvet seats in that historic atmosphere to watch Swan Lake will be one of the most unforgettable moments of your life. An unsolvable riddle. Yes, this is Moscow. As Winston Churchill said, it is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. Cold but passionate. Massive but detailed. Fighting with its past but in love with its heritage. Moscow doesn't open itself to you immediately. It wants you to strive, to try to understand it. But once you break that hard shell, the rich, deep, and intellectual soul that emerges underneath binds you to it forever. When you leave this city, you take with you not just matryoshkas in your suitcase, but the indelible mark left on your mind by those vast squares and the icy wind. So, do you dare to solve this riddle?